Hey everybody, I am on for the midweek message reveal, September 28th. Okay, so energetically, we are moving to the end of Mercury retrograde on the 1st, which is Saturday, which is whoop whoop, yay. But we will be in a shadow period for about 2 weeks after that. Things should start to lighten, but I'm sure if you've had any sort of retrograde situation like me, stuff has just been off. And it's usually technical, trying to get places, stuff getting canceled, things getting moved around, miscommunications, people coming up out of nowhere, lots of snafus and all that delicious, fun stuff that makes you really have to stop and think about what it is that you're doing and what you want to continue, as Mercury retrograde allows you to do. It allows you to take some time to say, is this what I want to do? Is this the path that I want to continue on, or do I want to reframe? So if you've been reframing the ways in which you're approaching other people, the maybe situations and how you react, which is across all the cards here this week, is all about reactions and all about the ways in which we speak to ourselves and speak to others. So communication is pretty big. We've moved into Libra season, so we are happily in a place where we are seeking balance. But at the same time, there is a want for control in that situation. And the control piece is the part that's a little sticky, as usual, but we are human. So remember, you are human. You are human, whether you like it or not. You're freaking human. All right, I'm going to jump into the cards. So I have a new deck that is the Metaphysical Cannabis deck. Cool. So I thought I would whip this one out and just go for it. So we're going to start here. All right, so I'm going to start with card 1. If you are group 1, your card is Agbaye. Bliss. A beautiful card. All I feel here is air, a lightness, a flowingness, and also a sense of balance. As you see, we have the birds in the air that are actually the flying creatures, and we have those on the ground who are keeping everything settled into a state of bliss where you can create, just as she is moving, and it actually is levitating off of the ground here. So there's a sense of ungroundedness that can also happen, but it's also happiness in the sense of feeling like things are in motion, wanting lasting success, wanting fulfillment. So one, you may be feeling an itch to travel. You may be feeling also that you may have completed a cycle. Have things changed? Ask yourself this. Are you done with something? Have you finished something but haven't recognized that you've completed it and are in the process of moving on, but you haven't really acknowledged it? So if you're feeling a little off, that may be why. Also know that you are allowed to experience and desire that lasting success and that bliss. You are allowed to have it. You're allowed to want it, and you're allowed to receive it. And there is a little bit of a block there with 1. So take a moment and kind of pay attention to when things are coming in, when help is coming in, when abundance comes to you, when someone is trying to assist or provide a sense of support that you feel you may not necessarily need, but it would lighten the load. It would allow you to have some ease. Ease is okay. Ease is what we want. Ease is a way for you to flow in a sense of calm. And that calm piece is really what I'm feeling here. Just see even just the lightness and the airiness of how she's standing, and even just the faces of the animals. So we have the cow here that is, the grounded Taurian sort of figure. Leo is what I'm really feeling here in Scorpio, as far as major placements. So if any of you have these placements as well, that would be interesting to see if that occurs. I am feeling some pressure or fullness in a way in the belly. This is requiring a sense of wanting to integrate the lessons that have come up. So you're at a place where you can move forward and want that fulfillment and want that success for yourself, but you have to kind of allow yourself to digest it. And it's kind of sitting kind of heavily in the belly, kind of like a big bubble. So you may be feeling that energy. Sit with it, work with it, ask for it to explain itself. And acknowledge it. And I'd be surprised, I wouldn't be surprised rather, that it might move for you and give you a little bit of ease. So yeah, pack your bags though. I think you're going to be up for some traveling or some reorganizing, kind of moving things around in order for you to get what you want. But ask yourself, are you done with this? Are you ready to move on? And if you are, leap. Okay. 2. Group 2. Love this card. Silent retreat. Silence. Just take a moment here. I'm just going to be quiet for a second. You can feel this card. You can feel her inner peace. You can feel her calm. You can even see like the way that the light is falling on her, that she's glowing in a sense. Lots of color of green with the heart chakra, as well as the sacral that's represented here. And just so much golden, beautiful hair. I can't help but get the Leo vibes here with the mane. But really, she's calm. Her eyes are closed. She's in a place of repose. And at the same time, I feel like this is what 2 really needs, because 2, you've really been having a lot of ruminating thoughts. You've had a voice in the head. You've had maybe not your own voice. You've heard maybe judgments or things that other people might be saying or thinking, things you might be saying about yourself. Coulda, shoulda, woulda is happening a lot. And not really allowing yourself a sense to an opportunity to relax. The silence is where you need to kind of cultivate that. And that silence is literal, but it's also silence within the self. That inner sort of turmoil that's kind of happening, the spinning, the I should, I must, the self-deprecating, the judgment that's kind of coming from nowhere. Be the observer there. The voice in the mind is not yours. You are the one that hears it, and sit in that knowing. You might need to sit in silence and kind of digest that itself. You're allowed, just like 1, like we're talking about, you're allowed to receive this. You're allowed to give this to yourself. You're allowed to tap into a place where you can feel that safety and that quiet. And in that quiet is when you are given your guidance through your body, through your essence, through your spirit, and from your higher powers and from your higher self. But if you're so busy talking and filling up the energy with gossip or lists, or overfunctioning by doing too much, by pushing yourself when you need to take a rest, by putting yourself in a place where you're constantly at the whim of other people, as far as being always available, maybe a lot of time on screens, a lot of time on the phone, a lot of time in communication with others, and always kind of extroverting. Take some time for yourself here too, because it's gonna wear you out if it hasn't worn you out already. And this will lead to just almost a sense of depression is kind of what I'm feeling. I'm also feeling an expansion here in the back right rib cage. It's kind of moving out and radiating up into my shoulder. This has to do with letting go. This has to do with almost feeling a sense of guilt about moving forward. And moving forward is kind of not a literal sense. It's more emotionally allowing yourself to detach so you can process and move on in a emotional sense and make space for something else. And you can't do that unless you give yourself that quiet time alone. And music as well is also going to be something that will play in here. Try and find something that is soothing to you. It feels almost like there's something that's pinging you all right now. There's something that you like to listen to. There's someone that has been suggested to you. Maybe even like, I'm getting like a YouTube video. Maybe even some like binaural beats or something like that would be great for you to put on to where you can get into a quiet space and focus on that tone instead of what's going on in your mind. And with Libra season, I mean, being an air sign, so you are up in the head. So we want to try and ground that down. Work on the daily practice. Try and give yourself some space around it too. And that structure is going to be the thing that's going to allow you to keep that balance in play. Okay, so moving on to 3. 3. Look at this card. This is Aziki Dabaran. Gratitude. And these are African and I want to say that it's Yoruba language here. So this has to do with like the wheel, in a sense, it's like the medicine wheel, where there is balance, there is light and dark, there is light and shadow. And the figure here at the bottom, again, floating and seeing this spherical sort of orb in the center that is the entire universe, that is the flux, the flow. So there's change here that is being kind of resisted. Be grateful for the moments that you have where you've come to a place of knowing that you have lived through these lessons. You may be experiencing the end of the dark night of the soul, a tower moment, as some people say in tarot, where things have seemed to literally crash around you and you're rebuilding your foundation. It's the only way to do things, unfortunately. And we all experience this in different ways, and we experience this in layers, just like the spiral that I talk about. So you understand something at this level, right? You've experienced this learning of what it means to trust someone and what that feels like. And you may have been burned, right? Or maybe you have given trust and by someone else, and you've failed to uphold that end of the bargain, and you're experiencing what that feels like. We're going to, when you graduate to the next ring and the spiral, you're going to experience a deepening of that. So understand the balance is something that is required for you to really kind of digest what's happening in order for you to stay open. Even if there is negative things that are seemingly negative that are coming up, everything is coming to you that can be in a positive mode. It can become positive. And that's not to spiritually bypass or to say that, you should just, grin and bear it and get over it. Or man or woman up or whatever, person up. Not that. It's understanding that the way in which you react is the only thing you have control over. It's also a way in which you are able to find your center. And when you find your center is where you find your inner balance and your inner compass. I'm kind of getting compass vibes here too. For 3, I'm really feeling a lot in the jaw that's kind of moving, like a tenderness, even like in the throat, and just kind of a heaviness here. So be aware of what you're saying about yourself in this process as you're healing. Be aware of the way in which you minimize or discard or shrug off some serious deep work that you've done and some really heavy shit that you've been through. Don't pass it up. Give yourself some credit, but also be grateful for the experience itself, because it's not always negative. And it's something that you may see in a different light a little bit further down the road. So keep that open. Keep your heart open. Keep your mind open. Allow yourself to get into a flow where you're not resisting something that's coming up for you. Take a moment, take a breath, and see how you actually feel before reacting. Because in that moment is where you have that power. And in that moment is where you have the most opportunity to do whatever it is that you want and follow your own bliss and follow the guidance that is your inner knowing, because you know what's right for you. Trust that. Trust that you understand yourself best, even if that scares you. I'm feeling a lot of trepidation that's coming up here for 3. You got this. Yeah, it's different. Yeah, it's going to be hard. Hard in a sense that it's going to be unknown territory, which pushes you out of your comfort zone, and you don't like that. Nobody likes that. But that's the growth. That's the place where you can really create the life you want and do the things that you have always wanted to do. And you'd be surprised the people that you bring in when you're in that space and those that help you along the way. So stay open to that. Don't resist it. Embrace it. All right, cool. So those are the messages this week. I would love to hear what you think. As always, feel free to check my link. Would love to work with you. And if this is something that you enjoy and there's someone else that could participate and enjoy this as well, please share that. That would be really awesome. And I will check y'all next week. All right, peace. Have a wonderful one. Bye.